Update the name. Hello, and welcome to the stream. If you are listening into this streaming, the introduction there, you may have heard me speaking to myself. Something I kind of like to do every so often. Hello, everyone. So, hello, Kim. Hello, Maurice. Hello, Adil. Basically, what you would have heard me commenting on was that I pushed the button on my Stream Deck, which should set everything up. It goes on to the starting stream scene. It should send a tweet. So it sent a tweet this week, which it didn't do last week. So progress is being made. But it's also meant to set my... It's meant to change my Twitter name to make it say live to give an indication that I'm currently streaming. But it didn't work. And I don't really know why. So I'm going to have to add that to my list of things to do because, yeah, it doesn't seem to work, which is kind of annoying. But anyway, it's not really important. It's not really important at all. And yes, you did miss me at PrinceConf Adil. I do apologize for that. So I don't really have an excuse, to be honest. I mean, we took the night off. So both my wife and I took the night off, and just I wasn't there. And it looked like it was really good though. So I am intending on watching some of the recordings back once they're all released. Because Stevie said that there was a couple of really good sessions that he liked, so I intend to watch them back. So if anyone in the chat doesn't know what we're talking about, so Mr. Adil Lagari in the chat room there, he was a co-organizer of a virtual online event, which was all done through Twitch, I believe, with lots of sessions covering PowerShell. So there were interviews with the PowerShell team was involved as well. They had some sessions where they're answering questions and things. So it was very well received, is my understanding. So I would encourage you to go and to watch them back if you weren't able to attend in person. From a Chocolatey perspective, Adil was organising it. Pobby, he did a session, and Stevie Coaster, he was also doing a session. So definitely go and check those out. Videos are in the process of going up to YouTube, I believe. Yeah, so I think the keynotes there that I saw, I am subscribed to the YouTube channel. Let me see if I can dig it up. Oh, there we go. Deal's already done it. So if I copy this link and let's do that copy, and then let's paste this one. So I'd encourage you all to go and take a look here. If you haven't already, subscribe and get a notification when the new videos are uploaded, and you can watch them back. Is it going to be an annual thing, Ideal? Is it something that you're going to be doing again, or was this a one-off? Yeah, there we go. So there's a short link there as well in the chat room if you want to grab that too. Every 3 to 6 months. Okay, cool. So for that reason alone, go and check it out. And the Twitch URL. Do you have the Twitch URL as well, Adil? So I'll put that onto the. I can copy that in. Is it just BridgeConf, or I'll let you paste that in. I can put it up and behind me. Folks can grab it. That's assuming it's all going to be done through Twitch again. Oh, there we go. Let's copy this. Copy, copy, copy. And then paste, paste, paste. YouTube now says, what does that mean, Maurice? So this is the, I don't think I have subscribed yet to this one, so I'm going to go and follow this just now while I'm here. And I'm going to get some notifications when they flow through as well. So that's good. Okay, so that was last week. YouTube, I can't read or speak Dutch. Subscribed, perfect. Okay, so one of the things that we left off, where we left off last week, was if we go and attempt to run the command that is this one. So we got to a point, let's just clear this out so we can see it a bit better. One of the things that we noticed last week was that if we ran this command, which was requesting Chocolatey get version.portable, all versions, page 0, page size 20, what we found was that the resulting output included pre-release versions. Now, one of the things that we wanted to add into Chocolatey GUI was the ability to either include or exclude pre-release package versions when we were trying to find a package version to install. So what you'll see now is that this is now working. So the command that I ran was this, but if I now include --pre, then it will now pull back package versions that are both pre-release as well as released version. So the bug that we noticed last week, or one of the bugs that we noticed last week, has now been fixed. So basically, after the stream last week, I went back and I spoke to Rob, and we identified that this specific issue with the pre-release was an issue on Chocolatey.org. So Chocolatey.org was incorrectly including pre-release versions when it wasn't being requested. Now, that happened as a result of some of the changes that were made in an attempt to optimize Chocolatey GUI's Lucene index. So that a fix went in to make it so that this now works as expected. So if you don't include the pre-release option, then you won't get any pre-release package versions returned. And if you do include it, then you will get pre-release versions. Now, the other issue, yes, so if that wasn't clear, I apologize. So yes, this was specifically an issue with Chocolatey.org's Lucene index, not a Lucene index in Chocolatey GUI, which is, I mean, if I said that, I think I probably did say that. I apologize. That's not what I meant. So a fix went into Chocolatey.org to fix that, and at least that part of what we were looking at last week has been rectified. Now, the other issue, which is if I give it a page number, or once we start giving it a page number, then what we would like to do is have we want to order by the package version descending. Now, we don't have that yet. I sat with Rob for a little bit over the course of the week, and we've identified that we think that it is an issue with Chocolatey.org that we need to fix, but we haven't as yet fixed it. Okay, so as far as Chocolatey GUI is concerned, I think the work is complete. So Chocolatey GUI expects to get Chocolatey GUI expects them to come back in a certain way, and that expectation should be being met by Chocolatey.org. In a minute, it isn't. So from a Chocolatey GUI coding perspective, there's not much more that we can do. So the comment from Kim there in the chat room, So in theory, equivalent to chocolatey.org showing the pre-release sometimes on the website when no version is specified. So yes, so we suspect, Kim, that some of the reported issues are related to this fix that went into chocolatey.org, and that's why we took the opportunity to basically, once it was identified, we pushed out a new version of chocolatey.org straight away. So there is a potential that this fixing this specific issue for Chocolatey GUI has also fixed other issues that has been reported as well. Okay, so happy days all around. So with that in mind, what I was hoping to do today was to continue with some more work on the advanced dialogue feature that we've been working on. But before we doing that, I wanted to look at a pull request that Maurice has put up. So if you cast your minds back to last week, what we spoke, or what came up in conversation, was that Chocolatey GUI should, or depending on your environment, depending on how many packages you have, depending on how many sources you have, the running of what is essentially the Choco outdated command can take a little while to come back. So we're talking upwards of minutes to come back. And what happens in the user interface is that other operations can be blocked, essentially, because it's running that, although it's happening in the background, other operations like an install and an uninstall, which need to be the only running operation, is prevented. So it gets blocked. So what Maurice suggested, and what he has since implemented, was another feature which we can set, which will prevent the loading of the Choco outdated, or prevent the running of the Choco outdated command based on a feature toggle. So Maurice is saying, when I run this command against a Nexus V2 feed, I'm getting the results in ascending order. That's different. Well, that doesn't help us, does it? Scratch the results. So hold on, what were we saying? When I run the command against a Nexus V2 feed, I am getting the results in ascending order. But, so hold on, let's be clear then, because there's a couple of issues with regard to this. So, okay, let's go back and talk about this. So, if you're saying that they are in ascending order, are they paging correctly? I.e., if you ask for page 0, are you getting a page set of results for the most recent package versions in ascending order, or are you getting the oldest package versions in ascending order? Yeah, I'm not on Slack just now, so I can't review that. So we can talk about that later. Let's the oldest to newest incorrect. See, that doesn't help us. If that's the case, then that really doesn't help what we're trying to achieve here, because what we want to achieve is what I'm trying to prevent is having to get all the package versions back and then just order them, because that kind of defeats the point of what we're trying to achieve here. So that would be a little bit annoying. And if it can't be trusted, then we may have to go to the V2 feed directly rather than by using a Chocolatey command. Oldest to newest in the correct order. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, it's throwing me for a wobbler here. So I honestly don't know what to do for the best then, because if that is both Nexus and Chocolatey.org returning in an ascending way, then there's nothing that we can do on the client side to prevent that. Unless it's because of the way. So let me look at what command. Let me go into Slack. I was kind of trying to avoid going into Slack. Okay, so now I'm getting confused with what you're saying, Maurice. I'm sorry. Looking at it again, I am getting the 20 latest package. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be hard to talk about in this kind of dialogue. Let's take that offline and we'll talk about that later, because there's other things that we will need to get going on with tonight, I think. Because at the very least, there are inconsistencies in how the data is coming back. So we need to ensure that any potential changes that are going into Chocolatey.org match what other package repositories are doing. So let's take that offline, because it would be good to do some tweaks to that, or basically run commands against two different repositories to see what we get back. Okay, so what I was saying was that Maurice identified the issue that running Chocolate outdated can cause problems, and he raised an issue, which was this issue. I guess we should get this added to the next milestone, and we'll add this as a feature. And can we add Maurice? I guess we can. So we'll add Maurice to it. And what he added in was a pull request, which attempts to do this work. So what I wanted to do, so I wanted to take a look at this and see it in action, and then hopefully get it merged in. So if we grab this and we say git remote add Kevin R with that, we'll say git fetch Kevin R, and then we should be able to git switch to, what is the branch called? The branch was called this guy. Okay, so with this now, we should have a new feature here that is prevent automated outdated packages check. So it's a bit of a mouthful, but it is what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to prevent the automated outdated packages check, and we could set that to true if we wanted to prevent that. So this will have a new entry in the resources. We go back and look at what that was called. Settings view, toggle, prevents automated check for outdated packages on startup. And that was the thing that I wanted to check based on the implementation, because there were a couple of things that I started playing with this, and there was a couple of things. So I want to check whether that wording is correct. But let's give it a try. So let's take this for a spin. We'll see what it does. Let's see where we get to. So by default, this is false. So it won't be, it'll still do the outdated check by default. So we'll see it running. So it's still running there. It's this progress bar at the bottom that is the outdated check. So it's still happening, and that's fine. But while that's happening, this button up here, which is the new check for outdated packages button, it's disabled because this operation is currently running. So that's good. So when that finishes, I'm going to assume that we should be able to click this button. So let's give that a try. There we go. So Choc Outdated has come back with, these are the outdated packages. And this button has now become enabled. So if we run that again, now that came back really quickly, but I think that came back quickly because it has, see, this is kind of where, you can click all three if you want, says Maurice. Yep, so these buttons these two buttons were here before, so the only one that we've added in is this one. It doesn't clear the cache. So for those that don't know, Chocolatey GUI now has the concept of persisting the calculated outdated packages for a period of time. So what it does is it stores that in a file. Yep, no, absolutely. That's just where I was going, Marie. So there is a button that will force the purging of that file. So if you click on this, it will purge that information. So that information should be, if we go over here and look in users, vagrant, application data. Not accessible. Where does it store it? Try to remember where I store that information. I was fairly sure it was in there. Is it here? I think it's in here. Yeah, so this outdated XML file. So if we put this down here a little bit, and we say, that's not what I want to do. And if we say yes to that, then that outdated XML file goes away. So now if we go back to here and we say check outdated, now it kind of forces it to run. So I sort of think I want that button to, do I? What do we think? So this button is, the purpose of this button is to check for outdated packages. If this button is pushed, then I think it needs to do the same thing as this one, does it? Because otherwise it's essentially a no-op. It doesn't actually have any purpose. But then the other thing that occurred to me is, do we want this button to only be there when this feature is enabled? No, let's work through it. You don't have to make any changes yet, but let's talk through it first to make sure that we are on the same page. So, because there's a couple of things in and around this that I think we need to look at. So the first question that I have is, should this button only be there if the feature is enabled? Okay, so I don't disagree with that, Maurice. So what you were saying is, I think it's a nice extra feature that allows you to force refresh of your outdated packages. Okay, so regardless of this setting, this button is available. So then the follow-up question is, if I've knowingly clicked this button, then I think I want it to purge the stored state as well. But then that brings up the question of whether you should be prompted, because this one over here says, are you really, really sure? And you can back out of it. Whereas this one, if we make it so that it deletes that file, it's gone. There's no prompt at that point. So there's the next question. Do we want this button to prompt an are you sure? Because none of these ones do, I don't think. Well, that was interesting. These just take action. I'm curious as to why that's showing there. That's maybe a Jan question at some point. If I hit refresh, then it's showing me the no matching packages, the empty dialog, the empty item template, I think. So, first question. If we click this button and we force it to refresh the outdated, the cached version, should we prompt? Or is it expected that if the user is clicking the check for outdated packages, that they expect that that's going to come into there? You're talking adding that to the tooltip, Maurice. Okay. I don't dislike that idea. So let's have a look and see where this is coming in. So if we go back to the PR, then the button that's being pushed is calling the update. So that was one thing I did notice, Maurice, and we should maybe I think I see now why you have named it the way you have. Yeah. So this check for update method, I want that to be called check for outdated, but then this one is called check for outdated. So we may have to come back to that. So it's in here, I think. We go in here, then this is where we load the file, or we do it this way. So I think what we need then is, well, that's a good question. Let me think about this a little bit. Where is the purge? Where does it come from? Purge. Dun, 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 dun. application parameters. What's that? References, what's that doing? Okay. Yeah, that's a different story. Purge command is here. So, oh, that's for the actual command itself. Yes. Okay, and then we run that, and then we purge. It's in here. So, and then this is going to be called from a few places. One of which is, so we call that when we do an install. That's expected. We call this, I'm going to open, keep this one open. We call that when we do an install. We call it when we do a reinstall. That's expected. We call it when we do a update. That's expected as well. And we also call it when we run that command. And that's expected. There's two others. That's calling it from the purge command itself. And then that is the implementation. So I think then, if we go back to here, then we might also want to run, that's kind of where I'm going. It's kind of where I'm going. Let this play through again. And currently we're in here. And then in here we and then here oh, it's in here, sorry. One package. Check for outdated. So we don't have one of those guys. We can get one though. We can get one of those. Let's stick this in here. And then here. Private read only. Chocolatey GUI cache service. Chocolatey GUI cache service. And then in here, we should be able to say Chocolatey GUI. Why did that not? Because I forgot the underscore. That function is used by both, so don't think you want to stick it in there. Well, by both, what does that mean? By both what? So you're talking about in there, and then in there. check for outdated. So confused. Oh, no, load packages. I see. That's fine though. We can do that. Bool. Thinking. I mean, it doesn't have to go in there. Oops. And then microimplementation. Okay. Used by both, so it won't. So if we run this again, then okay. So now if we click on this, then the file is deleted. So then we play through and then it's doing the update. Okay. I think I prefer that. And then if we come over to the settings screen, we can still purge this in the normal way and that file goes away. We should. There's a couple of things. So let's hold that thought because yeah, the name of this function is gonna confuse me. So I think we need to change it. So I want to change that to be check for I can't type tonight. Outdated packages. Yes, I do. Check for outdated packages. Can check for outdated packages. And then in the YAML, which is the local, this one, check for update. This one is the one that I want, I think. Yeah, so that's where I am. So check for outdated packages. Can check for outdated packages, but then that's gonna check. I'm gonna have to change that too. Sorry. Copy. Check for outdated. Check for outdated. We spoke about the whole packages as well. I'm just going to leave it just now. We did speak about it though. So this is now going to be this, and that's going to want to be that. Check for outdated packages. And the suggestion was to put in here forced. So if we run that, Where do we get to? So this should now say check for outdated packages first. Good. And then we click on this and we get in here, which deletes the file, runs it again. And then we hit refresh, doesn't change anything there. Check for outdated, run it again. Okay. And then we haven't broken anything in the functionality of this button. It still does what it does. Still deletes it. Beautiful. And then there's no reason that that would have changed, but let's do that. And then if I put this on and then see if this is gonna remember that. So if I hit start again, then if I do this now and force it, then it'll create that file. Good. If I close this again and I hit start, now this file is there. See what I'm thinking there, Maurice? That file has the outdated package information. So I'm wondering whether, if that file is there and it is valid, i.e. it hasn't gone outside of the length of time that is configured to keep it, should it display it? What are our thoughts there? If the file's there, should it show it? I'm gonna have to ponder that one. I don't know. I guess so. I mean, they can get it back, obviously, by just let's remove that breakpoint. But yeah, you've explicitly said to not load it. So I think I'm okay with that. In which case, let's have a quick review of the other changes that went in here. So this was fine. We've changed the name of that. I am cycling. What gave it away? I'm curious. What gave it away, Maurice? I am on my bike. I personally don't think it's particularly noticeable. Is it happening a lot? It's not like it's just subtle, I think. That's what I'm trying to convince myself that it's not completely noticeable. But I am on my bike, yes. Just gonna retweet this. So the other changes that we made, or Maurice made here, were is show only packages with update enabled. That was something that was already there, right? Or is that is? show. Hold on, what was this doing? It was already there, but it was set to false. So we've made that equal to is show. Oh, sorry, I see what it's referring to now. That took me a second. It's referring to this one. Okay, fine. Okay, and then that was there, for each, that was there. First load complete false. And depending on that, we call checkout dated. And then checkout dated becomes part of what it was before. Okay. So then the button, added a new button. Fine. Actually, let's go through some of these. This was the adding of the new feature. That's, I'm not even going to look at that. This was the adding of the new property. Local source view. That's the button of that. And then that prevents automated check for outdated packages on startup. But it doesn't. So what happens? Let's do this. Let's take that guy out. What happens if we install something? It'll still get done then, right? So we're going to have a look here, find something that is quite small, install that. Oh, interesting. Did you see what I saw there, Maurice? No, it got created, look. Yep, by loading the remote view, not just the local view. So the changes that have been made, I think, are solely in the local view, I think. So we may need something similar in the remote. So, but then the scenario that you put forward in the stream last week was that, well, you can't install anything quickly with Chocolatey GUI because you can't just load Chocolatey GUI and then do a quick install. And that exact same thing is going to happen here. You load Chocolatey GUI and it doesn't load it on startup, yes, but then you go to a source, a remote view, and that remote view then goes ahead and runs Chocolatey dated. So that will then prevent you in the same way that it's preventing you just now, right? Because you can't do a quick install of a package because it's going to run off and it's going to run Chocolatey dated, and it's going to take a while for that to return. Is clicking on the remote view still start? Well, I don't know. I'm not saying it is. I'm going to the scenario that you put forward last week, which was, as I just described, you want to install a package. Maybes. But it shouldn't be much more than what we've already got, though. It should be very similar to what we have in the view model. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think it is. And the name of the feature doesn't mention that it happens on startup. The feature is prevent automated Choco updated check. Prevent automated outdated packages check. That term, I thought about that term quite. Took me a while to come up with that term, but that term is meant to be indicative of it running Choco outdated without you expressly telling it to. So whether that's on the local view or whether that's on the remote view, the only wording that's different is on startup. And that was where I was trying to get to. So what I'm wondering is whether we want to prevent everything calling Choco outdated, depending on that feature. So there's maybe a little bit more work to do here. And that's why I think when I was digging into this, I was considering putting the feature check into here, into a lower level. So but then that would mean passing the bool through. Because then any call to get outdated packages would then check the feature. And if the feature is there and you haven't expressly told it, i.e., and by expressly told it, I mean pushing this button, then you don't do anything with Choco outdated until you expressly say go ahead and get it. But then that becomes problematic when it's not. I'm assuming that Kim and other folks are still around, but yeah, it's not a problem. Just me and you chatting, Maurice. It's fine. But I do feel if we're going around the circles a little bit here, in terms of what this thing is trying to achieve. Because what we found was, we go back to here, check for outdated packages. So we found that this one was being called in multiple places, didn't we? Ooh. What project are you working on, Kim? Now you have to tell us. Oh, it was the purge that was being called in multiple places. And then that brings up the question of whether that purge they're kind of all interrelated. I mean, what I think I want to do is I want to put the check of the feature in here. And then only run this if that feature is enabled. Not enabled, only run if that feature is false. And then allow overriding of it by forcing it, which is the button. Just a small exercise I gave myself to dust off my skills in a language I haven't used in a few years. Ooh. I will say it's kind of related to package managers though. Chocolatey and Pac-Man. Ooh. Chocolatey and Pac-Man. So that means it's in something like a few years. Are we talking? How many years are we talking about here? Right, I think it's time for me to come off my bike a second. Hold on. I'll just. Let me get my mat. Okay, so not for the first. Ooh, intriguing. Okay, so I think I'm going to make some changes because I would like to get this pulled in. So let's get this done. So let's minimize some of these things that we don't need anymore. And you can help me through this. So in our remote view model, we made usage of this thing. Okay. So in our Chocolatey service, why not add it to remote view model line 268? Because that doesn't capture all the usages, I don't think. So there's 4 references to this thing. So it's used in at least 2 places within local view source. It's used in here and it's defined here. So we could just add it, but my problem is that we're duplicating that work. If we put it into this, if we put it into here, then if we add it elsewhere, we don't have to also duplicate that out. So my thought process is if we put it in here, then we're doing that check once and only once. So I'm thinking that if we were to do var prevent automated outdated packages check is equal to this. So, hi Baron of Cheese, also known as Cheese Baron, also known as, oh my goodness, I've completely forgotten your name. Tomas. You'll probably find, much like the Git release manager codebase, that the usage of configure await is not implemented correctly in Chocolatey GUI. But in the same way that you updated the Git release manager codebase to correctly use configure await, then I would almost certainly welcome a PR to do that. So have at it, sir. Have at it. I mean, yeah, I'm bad at not doing that, and I know that. Just need to find some time. Absolutely. I'll leave that in your hands. So what we're doing here is, I'm going to change that not. So that is the prevent outdated packages check. So we've got that brought in here now. And then it should be as simple as, if we are not preventing automated check, then let's just put a big thing around here. Now I know I still need to do some work here, but that's not returning anything anymore. So what we then need to do then is, no, we should have this. We should change this. We should change this to be a early return. Let's remove this guy. Put this back up here. Then we return a new hello, Lily Hazel. Thank you for joining the stream. So what we want to do is this. Let's do an early return when we know we don't want to do the check. But then what we need, a few people joining the stream. Hello everyone. Who have we got here? Said hello to Lily Hazel, Tech Guy Will, and Wasabi Dev. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. There was? Oh, I missed the notification of the raid. Hello everyone who's come along from Wasabi Dev and Developers Garage. Hello everyone. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. On the stream tonight, we are looking at doing some changes to a application called Chocolatey GUI. So it's the UI version of Chocolatey Package Manager for Windows, and we're updating a WPF application that is Chocolatey GUI. So we've had a PR come in from Maurice, who's in the chat room. So we're digging through that and working through the PR and figuring out a few things. So it brought up some discussion, and Maurice has just said hello there, and figuring out a few things. So one of the things is whether or not we want to force this. So bool, we're going to say force check for outdated packages, and we will make that null. We'll make that false by default. So we're changing the package signature a little bit. And we will need to update this as well. So let's have a look over here. Let's grab this guy. Put that into the method signature. So we're changing the method signature of this one, and then we're going to make use of that. If we are preventing automated outdated package check and we're not forcing the check for packages, then we return that. If either of those aren't true, then we will carry on through here. So let's set a breakpoint here, and we'll set a breakpoint here so we can check things out. Then we need to go to each of the calls for this thing. So for this one, this is in the Tech Guy Will. Not a problem. Thank you for dropping by. If it's of interest, I'm here every Monday doing stuff like this. So feel free to drop on by again. Thank you very much. So for this one, we are not forcing. I'm going to say false, I think. And then this one here, check outdated packages. Oh, you see, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. Sounds good. Thank you very much. Tech guy Will. I'm going to go with just Will, maybe. Thanks, Will. So where we were doing this one, we said, so what are the defaults for that guy again? This guy is defaulting to false, null, and then, so we might need that one. So if we go back to here and look at this one again, then we're going to say false, null, and then force check for package outs. So we're going to defer this up to this guy here, and then we'll finish what we're doing before we come back to that. So that was that one, and then this one. And we're going to say false, null, and false. Then we'll look at the build to see where the build failures are, because there are going to be some build failures. Then this one is the force. So this one wants to be true. And I think, and then where's my error list gone? Why? Weird. And then this one wants to be there. Did I get those two around the wrong way? So we said this one has two references. Oh, we did. So this is the true one. So if we do all of those things, let's take a bit of spin. So there is no outdated packages at the minute. So that outdated packages.xml file has gone away. It's not there. So let's see. We left the feature on, so it shouldn't do anything. Correct? Good. So it hasn't created that outdated XML file. And if we switch to the remote view, oh, we've broken something. Oh no. That was a bit slow in the uptake there. So the get outdated packages is being called here. So that's the difference between the change that we've made in the local source, because this was never called. So we might want to put that back, but we'll come to that. So that is true, and this is false. So that's fine. So that means we'll get an empty list back. Okay. And then if we switch to the tile view, then there's no mention of any outdated packages. But then if we do what we've done, I think we need to put this button onto the remote view as well, Maurice. What do you think? Because and the XML file is still not there. But if we force it, it'll come in here and we will be forced. So it'll step over that. So now it will do Choco outdated. It'll create that XML file here, and then it's there. And if we switch to here, what happens if we load packages? Do we then get the outdated information? No, you see we get a... And I still think that's okay, because we haven't forced it on this page. But I think we need to force it on this page. So the same change that we made to the local view, which is this one, copy. If we go to the remote view, why are none of my buttons working? Strange. Remote view. Then in here, there's likely going to be a refresh remote packages. So if I take this and put this in, then, oh, that's called the wrong thing because I've copied and pasted it from a different location, but that's fine because this is now called refresh packages. We called this. Let's just take the whole line. Now those two things were added into our local view model, so we'll need to do the same thing here. Copy. Yep, so remind me of that. I hadn't forgotten, I don't think. We've got an is loading, so what is on the can load remote packages? So the is loading doesn't apply here because it's already loaded. So but this is the difference, and this is the what I want to know now is whether we need this at all. I'm wondering whether we need to go back to the way it was. Where we just had where we did the work within same function as the load for packages, but add a bool to it. I think we're talking about the same thing. So basically just to put, so I think what you did before was to, you added this in, I think, didn't you? You added that in to then call that. So if we were to just remove that, I think we're on the same page, Maurice, I really do. I'm just thinking it through. So if I were to remove this guy, var outdated equals, yeah, then I think this goes back to where it was. So you added that in. I think. Let me see what was happening here. Then we did here. And I think we're back to where we were. And then if we put what you were suggesting here, then that gets passed through to there. And then in here, refresh packages is refresh packages. That's a separate one. So we're not doing a force there. We don't have that anymore. But do we want to do the purge still? I think we still want to do the purge, but this becomes load packages to true. And then we've got one more, I think. Load packages is false. Load packages is false. And then here, false becomes that as well. So this becomes that. So let me come back to what you said there, Maurice. Let me just finish this thought process, because you could well be right, but let's await load packages, and then false. 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 We'll come back to that. So we were adding that in, so we will need that cache like we did before. So we'll need to borrow one of these. And we'll put you into there. Then we'll need one of these. We went after the progress service, which is here. And then after the progress service, we're going to do is equal to Chocolatey GUI cache service. So 424, oh, hold on. Oh, I see why that is, but that's also this. Let's put this in, so that resource name doesn't actually exist. because we changed it, and we changed it to be something here. So we'll borrow that, we'll put that in there, and then we'll grab this, and we'll add a new one in here. Data name equals that. Copy, paste, data, and then it's entirely likely that those will be the same, but we'll allow them to be different. We build this again. So Maurice, getting back to your point, you said on 424 clears, was that in this line here? Nope. In the local view? So was that something you added? Because I thought I saw you... Oh, so you moved it in the PR? It was there already. So you're saying we don't need it anymore, but it was there already before. I'm confused. I only kept it on full refresh. I only kept it on full refresh, not when refresh for outdated. Let's see if we haven't broken anything. Let's start there. So this is coming into get outdated packages as we wanted it to, but we're going to return a list of an empty list because there's nothing for it to do. We come in here, and we're going to come in here, and it's also going to return an empty list because that's what we've asked it to do. If we come back over here and we say force refresh of packages, then we'll come in here and we will get an outdated packages list. And that will give us the outdated information on our local page. Which should then populate those ones. If we go back to our local view, then it hasn't updated the information on these packages because, oh no, it has. But that was me flipping over to the tile view, I think. I wonder. Question there from Schmelly ORC. No, it won't. Chocolatey GUI is, well, for a couple of reasons. Chocolatey GUI, as it currently stands, is a WPF application. WPF only works on, well, the version of WPF that we're targeting only works on Windows. And the underlying application which Chocolatey GUI kind of sits on top of is Chocolatey, and Chocolatey at the minute only works, well, there's a rabbit hole there, but Chocolatey is intended as a Windows package manager. So the short answer is no, it will not. Maurice is saying, my point is that when you push the refresh button for packages, you'll see a short see a short no packages found. But I thought you said that that was already happening, not as a result of the changes that you added in. You're talking about that, correct? Yes. So when I click that, you're saying that. But I thought you also said that that was happening before you made the PR. Or did it only happen as a result of the changes that you made? Which one? I think I said two things there. So did it only happen as a result of the changes that you made? Can we be specific about what the it that you're referring to there is? Is it the flashing of the no packages or the clearing of the code that clears the packages? Just so that we're on the same page. The flash was already in the current code base. Okay. So I'm still confused. So this is the button that calls load packages, and load packages is now been refactored back to, I think, what the way it was before. But you were. Do you think I need to remove this line, or do we not? Is kind of where I'm at. By splitting it into two functions, I prevented that flash when you check for outdated. I see what you're saying. Okay. For when you check outdated packages. Which now, if you're saying if I do this again, it'll be there. I see where you're getting at. Because we're only refreshing the outdated packages at this point. I think I see. I think I'm on the same page as you now, Maurice. Sorry. It took me a second, but I think I'm there. I think I'm there. So if we were to go back to here and if we were to do something maybe similar to what I think you did then, because it was split into two functions, so it did that work and then it did that. So we could make it so that, but we're now calling load packages and also knowingly updating the outdated packages are not based on the features. So I'm going to put that back the way it was before as well, for reasons. And then I think what we want to do, yeah, okay, I see. I'm going to say that that's a different issue, Maurice. I think that's what I'm saying. Because the issue now exists in two places. It's not just we've copied the code base for the refresh, which means that we've duplicated that problem that was in the refresh with the outdated. But then, yeah, I'm not sure. Let me look at it again. And we should also test the other one, which is, so if I do this, then it goes away and it comes back, which doesn't make sense for this button. but it does make sense for this button. That button going away and coming back again makes sense. This button, it going away and coming back again, doesn't make sense. I see, I see, I see. Okay, so let's do this then. Let's see if we can put this back the way it was. I've got 29 minutes before I need to think about it. Reverting the function to the 1 in the current code base and keep the boolean. I changed a couple of other things in the function when splitting it into the 2. Yeah. So if we go back to the changes that I've made so far, then in here, okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. So I just need to, let's revert this. Let's revert this. And talk to you later, Tomas. And I won't forget about the fact I've got you on video saying that you're going to do that update for me. So I'll follow up with you on that one. Right. So this is what we want. So we're going to say here, if that, then check outdated. So then where we were calling this here is not this, this is check outdated. That doesn't need to be true anymore. I think this is now true. But then that means that we don't need this because we're not calling this then anymore. Okay, I'm kind of going round in a circle. Oh no, hold on, not that one. Undo. So start up. Okay, so it didn't load it. And if we hit refresh, then it goes away, comes back in. Makes sense. If we do this, didn't see it flash, does that, does the work. Our file has got obliterated. It comes back with the information. If we go to settings, put this off, we close this, we come back again. I think we're almost there though, Maurice, though we're not. I think it's basically there. Oh, no, it's not. Unless it didn't. Why did it not go and do my check here? What am I missing here? I'm maybe getting tired. I broke it with the force check in the load packages. I'm not clear on why. Oh no, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let's remove that. And let's take that out. And let's take this out. And let's take this out. Maybes. Maybes. So the feature is off, so it should check on initial load. We run off and we check for outdated packages, which it did. Boom. If we switch that feature on and we close this and we run it, then it should come in here and then we should get an empty list. I think. That's taking longer than it was meant to. Let's run that again. So the feature was on, or was it off? I forget which way around we put it on now. I think we put it on. So it should come in here and it should get... Which way around did I put it on? Prevent automated check is true and the force is true. Let me check that feature. We put it on, but it was also doing something else. Let me... I totally thought I had it here. All stack. Hold on. Force check. I think I can hear Maurice screaming at me from Amsterdam. He's screaming at me that I'm doing things so wrong. But it's all good. I think I'm going to get there. I think. Interesting. I'm sort of getting distracted by stuff that's happening on Twitter. So this time round, this is true, this is false. So we get an empty list. Good. But if we force it, then we should get our updated. There we go. Okay, I think. And then let's close this again and run it like this. I don't think we fixed the other one, the remote view. So we come in here and we're not going to get to our second breakpoint, which is fine. Come in here, we shouldn't get to our second breakpoint, which we don't. We come in here, and I think we are going to get to there. And it's loaded, but it doesn't show outdated on here, or does it? But it does if I go over to here, and Chrome is outdated. So Google Chrome is this one. I thought we were showing outdated on there, but maybe not. So let's do another test, which is to default to this for both of those. I appreciate it, Maurice. I do. I don't like being shouted at, even from so far away. I don't like being shouted at. I think I'm there. I think I'm almost there. So we don't get outdated information. We click on this, and we don't get outdated information. So far, so good. We force it, and we do get outdated information, which should give us this. Good. Okay. And then the refresh packages. The refresh packages lost the outdated status. Did that happen over here? So we force. We force the outdated. And then we, oh, I've broken my buttons. Oh, I've broken a bunch of stuff, Maurice. Next time, remind me to send you a voice message. You can play that and you can hear me screaming. I've broken my buttons and I'm not entirely clear on why. I have indeed broken stuff, Kim. I do apologise. I've got my buttons back. But it does a refresh of this. Refresh of that. Okay, so does that make sense? Does a refresh of the packages list reset the outdated status? What do we think on that? Yay or nay? Part of me thinks yes, because we prevented that refresh packages list could have brought down new information for whatever reason. Something's changed on the file system, but that outdated status is now outdated. So I think refreshing the packages list. Yeah, I tend to agree. But I'm curious as to why my buttons stopped working. I don't know what I did to make it stop. Those buttons stop working. Well, it's right there. So what is holding that off? That button is being held off by restore line 418 from the PR. If that's the case, Maurice, then that isn't doing what I think it's doing. So let me look at that now. You're talking about this one. So where is this used? Because this isn't doing what I think it's doing. Fine. Get that. But it doesn't though. It doesn't. The only thing that property is controlling is the enabled status of that checkbox. Updates checkbox. So I don't see how that is true, Maurice. That, from what I can see, that property is only controlling whether this button, this checkbox here, is enabled or disabled. It shouldn't be having an impact on these buttons at all. So I'm not convinced that line 418 but I don't think is show only packages with update enabled. So basically what we're trying to unless I'm completely off the reservation, that property, that bool, is only controlling whether this checkbox is enabled or not. Right? And that will go away when we set it to false. So this will checkout dated is being called. So we're always coming into here. So this one will always be set to true. We're setting it to false, and then we're doing some stuff. So we're setting it to false twice actually. So we don't need to do it twice. So it's doing it there, load packages calls checkout dated. So we don't need to do that. Is loading is true. Well, we should probably put that. If it is loading, return. I probably don't need those things in there anymore. Let's say that. Let's remove some of this stuff. And we'll reset that to false, and we'll reset that to true. So these are basically just, so what's happening is it's this property, I think, is what's in the can method. So we go back to here and we say can check for outdated packages, and it has loaded and not is loading. So we reset both of those. Did we set the has loaded? Where is has loaded? And when does it get set? Has loaded is true in the on initialize. Oh. And where was it set to false again? If has loaded. Has loaded is never set to false. So it can't be that one. So it must be the is loading. So the is loading is what is holding it off. So we set is loading there. We set is loading there. We set is loading there. We set it there. We set it there. Okay, so let's run this again. Oh, I think I know what it is, but I think I've also just fixed it. I think I've just fixed it. I think. So we set it to true. We call this, we set it to false, and it's enabled. And what was happening before is I did this. I got into there, I got into there, and it broke it. But now I think I fixed it. But I've also not got is loading false. I think did I fix it? I think I fixed it. So right now, oh, why can't I see it just now? Oh, that's annoying. Is that enabled or disabled right now? Hard to tell. Where's my scroll bar? No, but I think what they were doing, if I go back and look at my Git extensions, and we refresh this, then we were doing this. So we were setting is loading to true, and we were doing that in the checkout data. So when I pushed the button, I was hitting is loading to true, but I was never resetting it again. So now that we've moved that work, no, that's not true either, is it? Because we were setting it down here to false again. Yeah, no, I'm seeing that again. which is why they're not getting. Oh, I'm so confused right. Which is now why I'm probably not seeing my address bar where I was before. Hmm. I'm not sure if we are though. I don't think we are. Let me set it to false. And now it's enabled again. So how did I get it to break before? All I did was it this one? Why? It's this refresh button. It's because that refresh button refresh packages. Refresh packages is awaiting load packages. Load packages should set it to both true and to false. What? What? So very confused. For each over async and await methods should also be refactored. True. Loading is true. Loading is false. Everybody's happy. We haven't got outdated. We click on refresh. Is loading is true. Come in there. Is loading is false. Why are they disabled? I don't get it. So very confused. Oh, I just want to cry. If you can point me at what for each are you referring to there, Jan? And we can take a look. If I hit refresh here, then is loading is true. So in my watch window, I'm going to say can check for outdated packages. What's a method? It's true. If I do this and then refresh that, it should be false. If I come down here, then we're out of the scope, so we can't come back to that. So this is false. We set this. We set this is true. Has loaded is true. is loading is false. So why, in the name of all things rah, is that button disabled? That button shouldn't be disabled. Iterating asynchronously to use async await. Iterating asynchronously. How to use async await with for each in C#. So that we may or may not have access to those, but maybes. I need to know why that button isn't enabled. Why is that button not enabled? That button is that button. That's not where I want it to go. That button is in here. Can check. Oh, do I need to do the whole? No, it's a. What do I need to do here, Jan, to force the UI to recall this method? Because I don't think the UI is recalling this method. Let me see if I can prove that. Is loading is true. It gets called there, gets called there. Beautiful, beautiful. Gets called there, gets called there. Gets called lots of times. Right, I get it. Okay, it's doing it lots of times there. Fine. I'll put a breakpoint back on there. Stop it. Oh, it's because I've navigated to it, isn't it? Really? How can I prove make a breakpoint with make a what now? Oh, you're gonna have to talk me through this one, Jan. Make a breakpoint with console. How does one do that? Actions? I'm intrigued now. Show a message in the output window. So actions. Message can check for outdated packages called. So in my output window, oh, look at that. Okay. So if I hit refresh here, it was called. But there was lots of other stuff. And it's okay. We're gonna have to shelve this. I was really hoping to have this fixed. get it's kind of annoying. But I think we're almost there. I think we're very close. I'm curious as to whether this was broken before. Okay, I'm going to call it because I am getting almost past my bedtime. Thank you for that, Jan. I did not know that you could do that to the output window. That's very good to know. Thank you for that. Regarding the iteration of async await methods, we can look into that another day. I can do if you want me to, Maurice. If you're happy for that to be, let's do this then. What's the name of the? Let's do this. GH769. Working on feature during Twitch stream. Worked on this during the stream, trying to decide the best way to implement things. Went backwards and forwards on a few topics, but think we are getting closer to final result. Good night, Jan. Thank you for coming along. I'm going to say okay that, and I'm going to say get push to Kevin R. If you want to take a what now? Oh yeah, okay. Okay, cool. So that should be pushed. Yeah, that's pushed now. I can see it. Yeah, I'm not in. There's maybe a few things in there that we still need to look at, but I think we made progress tonight. Didn't really work on the other feature, which was the advanced dialogue, but got sidetracked a little bit. But I think that's okay. So that's all I have for tonight. So appreciate everyone coming along as always. I'm going to hit my finishing button, which should send out a tweet like it did at the start. But I'm curious as to see whether it did it or not. So I shall say good night. Thank you very much, and talk to you all later. The button didn't do anything. Why does that button not do anything? So it sent a tweet, but it didn't stop the recording. I'm genuinely confused as to what's going on there as well. What is my stop button? I know I'm still talking, but it's all good. Finishing. Oh, no, it doesn't. My finishing button doesn't actually close the stream. I should have done that manually. Anyway, talk to you all later. I'm going this time. I'm definitely going this time.